The Discovery. The mining station. Omega-7 drifted silently through the Kepler belt, its massive drilling arms reaching out like the legs of a mechanical spider. Captain Elena Torres stood at the observation deck, watching her crew work another, routine extraction. The asteroid they were harvesting looked ordinary enough, just another chunk of rock and metal to feed the hungry factories of New Geneva Colony. Elena had been running mining operations for 15 years, ever since humanity had begun its second wave of expansion into the outer systems, most days blended together in a haze of ore quotas and equipment maintenance. But today felt different. The readings from asteroid KX-4471 had been strange from the moment they'd begun preliminary scans. "Captain, you need to see this," Engineer Marcus Chen called from his station. His usually calm voice carried an edge of excitement that made Elena turn away from the viewport. Marcus was bent over his scanner display, his dark eyes wide behind his safety glasses. The man rarely got excited about anything except the latest technical manuals, so Elena knew something significant had caught his attention. "What is it, Marcus?" "The density readings are all wrong. This asteroid should be mostly iron and nickel, standard composition for this belt region. But there's something massive inside it, something that doesn't match any known mineral formations." Elena moved to look over his shoulder at the display. The scanner showed a cross-section view of the asteroid, revealing its internal structure. Most of it was indeed rock and metal, but at the core was something else entirely. Something with geometric patterns and hollow spaces that nature simply didn't create. "Could be an old mining shaft," suggested pilot Sarah Blake, floating over from her navigation console. Sarah was young, barely 25, but she had sharp instincts and a pilot's eye for detail. "Maybe someone worked this rock before us." Elena shook her head. "The records show this belt has been untouched. We're the first human operation to work this deep into the Kepler system." Communications Officer David Kim looked up from his station, his weathered face creased with thought. David had served in the Colonial Defense Force before joining Elena's crew, and he recognized the implications of finding unknown structures in unexplored space. "Captain, if there's artificial structure in there, we need to report it to Colonial Command. Could be alien technology or worse, some kind of weapon system." Before Elena could respond, Security Chief Rosa Martinez entered the control room. Rosa was a former military police officer whose no-nonsense attitude had saved Elena's crew more than once during their dangerous work in the outer belts. "Captain, the mining drones are reporting resistance from the target asteroid." "Whatever's inside that rock, it's interfering with our drilling equipment." Elena made her decision. "All right, everyone. We're switching from extraction to investigation. Marcus, I want deep scans of that object. Sarah, bring us in closer but keep the engines warm. David, monitor all frequencies for any signals or responses. Rosa, prep the EVA suits we might need to go inside." The next few hours revealed more questions than answers. The object buried within the asteroid was enormous, easily the size of a city block. The deep scans showed corridors, chambers, and what appeared to be massive engine compartments. Most mysteriously, parts of the structure seemed to be generating their own power, despite being buried in rock for who knew how long. "Captain?" David called out, his voice tight with concern. "I'm picking up electromagnetic activity from inside the asteroid. Whatever's in there, it's not completely dead." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. In the outer colonies, finding active alien technology usually meant trouble. The galaxy was full of species that didn't appreciate human expansion, and stumbling across their installations had led to conflicts before. "Is it trying to communicate?" "I don't think so. It feels more like diagnostic routines, like something running system checks." Marcus looked up from his displays, his excitement now mixed with apprehension. "Captain, I think I know what this is. The energy signatures, the structural layout, even the material composition. This isn't alien technology." "What do you mean?" "I mean this is human. Old human. Really old human." Elena stared at him. "That's impossible. Humans have only been in this system for 30 years. This thing has been buried for centuries, maybe longer." "Not impossible," Marcus insisted, pulling up historical files on his terminal. During the first expansion wave 800 years ago, humanity sent out dozens of deep space vessels. Most were colony ships, but some were military. The Earth Defense Fleet built massive supercarriers designed for long-range patrol and defense of human space. Sarah floated closer, her young face bright with curiosity. You think this is one of those old warships? I think this might be the find of the century, Marcus replied. If I'm right, we're looking at technology that was lost when Earth went silent during the Great Isolation. Ships like this were supposed to be the most advanced vessels humanity ever built. Elena weighed their options. Colonial regulations required them to report any discovery of this magnitude to the authorities. But she also knew that once the bureaucrats got involved, her crew would be pushed aside while government scientists took over. The potential rewards for her team would disappear into the vast machinery of colonial administration. Rosa, prepare. The cutting charges. We're going to open a way inside. Captain, David warned, if this really is an old Earth defense vessel, it might have automated defenses. We could be walking into a trap. Then we'll be very careful, Elena replied. But we're not walking away from this. Not until we know what we found. The cutting operation took most of the day. The asteroid's rocky exterior yielded to their plasma torches. But beneath the natural stone they found layers of advanced armor plating that required all of Marcus's engineering expertise to penetrate. Finally, as Omega-7's artificial night cycle began, they broke through into a vast hangar bay. Elena suited up with Rosa and Marcus for the first EVA mission into the discovered vessel. Sarah remained at the controls of their shuttle, while David maintained communication from the mining station. As they passed through the breach they'd cut in the hull, Elena's helmet lights revealed something that took her breath away. The hangar was immense, easily large enough to hold dozens of fighter craft. More importantly, it was pristine. No corrosion, no damage from centuries of exposure to space. The air had long since leaked away, but the structure itself appeared to be in perfect condition. My God, Marcus whispered over the comm. Look at the construction, the materials, the design philosophy. This is definitely Earth Defense Fleet, but it's more advanced than anything in our historical records. They made their way deeper into the vessel, following corridor after corridor of darkened passages. Emergency lighting flickered on as they passed, responding to their presence with systems that had been dormant for centuries. Rosa kept her weapon ready, but Elena began to feel less like they were intruders and more like they were coming home. Finally, they reached what appeared to be the bridge. It was a vast chamber with multiple levels connected by graceful staircases. Command stations were arranged in a semicircle around a central platform, and massive view screens covered the forward bulkheads. Everything was dark and silent, waiting. Elena approached the central command chair, an impressive piece of engineering that seemed to radiate authority even while empty. As her gloved hand touched the armrest, the entire bridge suddenly came alive. Lights blazed to life, displays activated, and the gentle hum of powerful systems filled the air. Elena jumped back, but the awakening continued. One by one, the command stations powered up, and the great view screens showed external views of space around the asteroid. Then a voice spoke, deep and resonant with the unmistakable accent of old Earth. Identification confirmed. Human genetic markers detected. Welcome aboard the Supercarrier Titan's Wrath. A holographic figure materialized at the center of the bridge. It appeared to be a middle-aged man in the uniform of the Earth Defense Fleet, his bearing military, but his expression warm and welcoming. I am Prometheus, tactical and navigation AI of this vessel. I have been waiting for humanity's return for 783 years, 4 months, and 16 days. Elena found her voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. Return from where? From the Great Isolation, Captain Torres. When Earth cut communications with the outer fleets and withdrew behind the Sol defense perimeter. We were ordered to maintain patrol stations and await further instructions. Those instructions never came. Marcus stepped forward, his engineer's mind racing with questions. You've been active all this time? In hibernation mode, yes. Maintaining minimal systems, monitoring for human signals, preserving the ship's capabilities for the day when humanity would reclaim its place among the stars. Rosa's security training kicked in. What kind of capabilities? Prometheus smiled, and Elena realized that this AI had been designed to be reassuring to human crews. The Titan's Wrath is a sovereign-class supercarrier designed for deep space, operations and fleet command. We carry a complement of 400 fighter craft, orbital bombardment systems, planetary defense networks, and manufacturing facilities capable of producing everything from personal equipment to additional starships. Elena's mind reeled at the implications. You're talking about a complete military infrastructure. Indeed, the Earth Defense Fleet believed that isolated vessels might need to operate independently for extended periods. Each sovereign class carrier was designed to serve as the nucleus of a new human presence in deep space. David's voice crackled through their comm units from the mining station. Captain, we have a problem. I'm detecting multiple FTL signatures approaching our position. Big ships, and they're coming fast. Elena looked at Prometheus. Are we in danger? The AI's expression grew serious. I'm afraid so, Captain. The activation of my systems has broadcasted an identification signal across several sectors. If hostile forces detected that signal, they would recognize it as Terran military technology. Hostile forces? The galaxy has changed much in 8 centuries, Captain Torres. Humanity's withdrawal created a power vacuum that various species have been fighting to fill. The return of Earth Defense Fleet technology would be seen as a significant threat to the current balance of power. Sarah's voice came through from their shuttle. Captain, I'm seeing 6 ships dropping out of FTL. They're not human designs, and they're moving into attack formation. Elena looked around the bridge at her small crew, then at the AI who had been waiting centuries for this moment. Prometheus, can this ship fight? The Titan's Wrath was designed to engage entire enemy fleets, Captain. But I require proper command authorization to activate combat systems. Elena understood what he was asking. She looked at Marcus, Rosa, and then at the command chair that seemed to be waiting for her. What does that mean exactly? It means, Captain Torres, that someone must take command of this vessel and assume responsibility for humanity's return to galactic affairs. The question is whether you and your crew are prepared for that responsibility. Elena looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching alien ships, then at her crew. Marcus nodded, his eyes bright with the excitement of discovery. Rosa's hand rested on her weapon, ready for whatever came next. Even Sarah's voice over the comm carried determination rather than fear. Captain, David reported. The alien ships are powering weapons. They're not here to talk. Elena walked to the command chair and sat down. Immediately, the ship's systems responded to her presence. Command interfaces appeared before her, and she could feel the vast power of the supercarrier awaiting her orders. Prometheus, I am Captain Elena Torres of the mining vessel Omega-7. I claim command of this vessel in the name of humanity, and the colonies we've built in the centuries since Earth fell silent. Command accepted, Captain Torres. All systems are now under your authority. Shall I activate defensive systems? Elena looked at the tactical display showing 6 alien warships closing on their position. Whatever happened next would echo across the galaxy. After 8 centuries of isolation, humanity was about to announce its return in the most dramatic way possible. All hands, prepare for combat. Prometheus, show them what human engineering can do. The Awakening. Across the Zephyrian Empire's sensor networks, alarms began to wail. In the capital system of Zephyr Prime, Admiral Kethvar watched in horror as his tactical display lit up with an impossible signature. The readings were unmistakable, burned into Zephyrian military doctrine by centuries of fear and preparation. Terran military vessel, Sovereign class, his sensor operator reported, mandibles clicking nervously. Energy signature matches historical records from the human wars. Kethvar's compound eyes focused on the display. The Zephyrians had fought humanity during the first expansion wave and barely survived the encounter. For 800 years, they had built their entire military strategy around the assumption that humanity might return. Now that assumption had become reality. Alert the High Command, he commanded, his voice carrying the authority of generations of military tradition. Implement Protocol 7. All fleet units are to converge on the source of the signal. Meanwhile, in the Corvin, Republic's war room, Chancellor Dexmore studied the same readings with cold calculation. The Corvins had never fought humans directly, but they had inherited the wreckage of civilizations that had. Their historians spoke of human technology that could reshape battlefields and human tactics that turned certain defeat into crushing victory. How many ships? Dexmore asked his intelligence chief. Sensors indicate a single vessel, Chancellor, but Terran doctrine called for their largest ships to operate independently. One sovereign-class carrier could threaten an entire sector. DA, Chancellor's scaled fingers drummed against the conference table. Then we cannot allow it to become operational. Dispatch the 3rd battle group. I want that human ship destroyed before it can call for reinforcements. On the bridge of the Titan's Wrath, Elena watched the tactical display as more and more alien contacts appeared at the edge of sensor range. What had begun as 6 attacking ships was rapidly becoming a fleet engagement. Prometheus. How many ships are we facing? Current count is 47 vessels from multiple species, Captain. I'm detecting Zephyrian battle cruisers, Corvin destroyers, and several independent mercenary squadrons. They appear to be converging on our position from 3 different vectors. Marcus looked up from the engineering station he'd claimed. Can we handle that many ships? Prometheus's holographic form turned toward him. The Titan's Wrath was designed for exactly this type of engagement. Our fighter complement alone equals the striking power of a traditional fleet, and our defensive systems were built to withstand sustained bombardment from multiple capital ships. Rosa had taken position at the weapons control station, her military training helping her adapt to the advanced systems. Prometheus, what about our crew situation? There are only 5 of us. The ship's automation can handle most functions. Chief Martinez. However, optimal combat effectiveness requires human oversight of key systems. I recommend Captain Torres focus on overall strategy, while you and Engineer Chen manage tactical systems. Elena studied the approaching enemy formations. The closest group would reach them in less than 20 minutes. Can we run? The Titan's Wrath is capable of faster-than-light travel, but our current position within the asteroid field limits our maneuvering options. Additionally, running would likely be interpreted as weakness by the approaching forces, potentially encouraging pursuit. Elena had commanded mining operations, not military vessels, but she understood leadership. Sometimes the best option was the one that showed strength rather than prudence. Then we don't run. Prometheus, what are our tactical options? The AI gestured, and the main display changed to show a detailed breakdown of the ship's capabilities. The Titan's Wrath carries 400 fighter craft in various configurations. Our point defense grid can engage multiple targets simultaneously. We have 12 heavy plasma cannons capable of engaging capital ships, and our missile systems can saturate large areas of space with guided munitions. And that will be enough against 47 ships? Captain, you must understand something about the vessel you now command. The Sovereign-class supercarriers were not simply large ships with many weapons. They were designed as force multipliers, capable of projecting power far beyond their apparent size. Each fighter we launch is controlled by an AI tactical coordinator. Each missile we fire can adjust its targeting based on real-time battlefield analysis. Each defensive system is integrated with every other system to create overlapping fields of protection. Elena felt a growing confidence as she began to understand the true nature of what they had discovered. You're saying this isn't just a warship. It's an entire military doctrine built into a single vessel. Precisely. The Earth Defense Fleet learned from humanity's early conflicts that superior technology and tactics could overcome numerical disadvantages. The Titan's Wrath represents the culmination of that philosophy. David's voice crackled through the communications system from his station aboard Omega 7. Captain, the lead group of alien ships is beginning their attack run. 6 vessels, moving in formation toward the asteroid field. Elena took a deep breath and settled into the command chair. The interface responded to her touch, and suddenly she could sense the entire ship around her. Power flows, weapon status, fighter bay operations, all of it was available at her mental command. Prometheus, Launch the first fighter squadron. Let them see what they're dealing with. Acknowledged, Captain. Alpha Squadron launching. Elena watched the tactical display as 12 sleek fighters emerged from the Titan's Wrath's hangar base. The craft were unlike anything in the current human fleet. Larger than traditional fighters but more maneuverable than shuttles. Each one packed with advanced weapons and shielding. The alien ships opened fire as soon as the human fighters came into range. Plasma bolts and missile salvos filled space around the asteroid field. But the human craft moved through the barrage like they were dancing. Their AI pilots calculated trajectories and evasion patterns faster than organic minds could follow, turning what should have been a devastating attack into a futile light show. First blood to humanity, Prometheus reported as the lead Zephyrian cruiser took a direct hit from concentrated fighter fire. Enemy vessels' shields are down to 60%. Helena felt a fierce pride as she watched her fighters perform, but she also understood that this was just the beginning. The real test would come when the main alien fleets arrived. Prometheus, I need to understand something. Why did Earth withdraw? From space? What happened to cause the Great Isolation? The AI's expression became somber. I do not have complete records, Captain. My last communication with Earth Command spoke of internal conflicts and resource limitations. There were references to political upheaval and questions about the cost of maintaining deep space operations. Marcus looked up from his engineering station. So Earth abandoned the outer fleets? Not abandoned, Engineer Chen. The final orders were to maintain stations and continue our missions independently. Earth Command believed that the outer fleets would eventually re-establish contact when conditions improved. 800 years, Elena murmured. They thought it would take 800 years to resolve their internal problems. I believe, Captain, that they expected us to return home when we were no longer needed in deep space. They did not anticipate that we would continue our missions for centuries. The tactical display showed the second wave of alien ships dropping out of FTL. This group was larger and included several massive Corvan battlecruisers. Elena could see that the enemy commanders were taking the threat seriously now. Prometheus, launch 2 more fighter squadrons and prepare the heavy weapons. I want them to know that attacking humanity comes with a price. Understood, Captain. However, I must inform you that our activities are being monitored by observer vessels from neutral systems. Word of this engagement will spread throughout the galaxy within hours. Elena realized the full implications of what was happening. We're not just fighting for this ship, we're fighting for humanity's reputation in galactic affairs. Indeed, how humanity performs in this battle will determine how we are perceived when we eventually re-establish contact with other human colonies. Rosa called out from her weapons station. Captain, the Corvan ships are targeting the asteroid. They're trying to collapse it around us. Elena's command interface showed her the incoming bombardment. Massive energy weapons were focusing on the structural weak points of the asteroid, attempting to create a cascade failure that would crush the Titan's Wrath before it could fully deploy. Prometheus, can we break free of the asteroid? Yes, Captain, but it will take several minutes to clear the debris field. We would be vulnerable during the extraction. Elena made her decision based on instinct and the growing confidence she felt in her crew and ship. Then we don't extract. We turn this asteroid into a fortress. Rosa, target the Corvan ships with our heavy weapons. Marcus, can you reroute power from non-essential systems? Already on it, Captain, Marcus replied, his hands flying over the engineering controls. We've got enough power to run at full combat efficiency for hours. The space around the asteroid erupted into chaos as the Titan's Wrath revealed its true capabilities. Heavy plasma cannons emerged from concealed positions within the rock, their targeting systems guided by the ship's advanced AI. The first salvo caught the Corvan formation completely by surprise, overwhelming the shields of 2 destroyers and forcing the larger ships to break formation. Elena watched as her fighters engaged the enemy in complex 3-dimensional battles that covered cubic kilometers of space. The human craft moved with inhuman precision, their AI pilots sharing tactical data in real time and coordinating attacks that no organic crew could have managed. Enemy casualties mounting, Captain, Prometheus reported. However, additional reinforcements are approaching. I count 23 more vessels, including what appears to be a Zephyrian dreadnought. Elena studied the tactical situation. They were winning the current engagement, but the enemy was learning from each exchange. The later waves would be better prepared and more heavily armed. Prometheus, do we have any options for ending this without destroying every ship in the sector? There is one possibility, Captain. The Titan's Wrath carries a deep space communications array capable of broadcasting across multiple star systems simultaneously. We could announce humanity's return and establish our intentions before more forces arrive. Elena looked around, the bridge at her crew. David was monitoring communications from multiple alien military channels, Rosa was coordinating defensive systems, and Marcus was optimizing power distribution with the enthusiasm of someone playing with the ultimate engineering puzzle. What would we announce exactly? That humanity has returned to galactic affairs, that we are reclaiming our rightful place among the spacefaring species, and that we are prepared to defend our interests with the full power of human technology and determination. Elena realized that Prometheus was offering her the chance to speak for all of humanity. The words she chose in the next few minutes would echo across the galaxy and potentially determine the course of human-alien relations for generations to come. Open the channel, Prometheus. Let's tell the galaxy that humanity is back. As the IO communications arrays powered up, Elena felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. In the space of a single day, she had gone from mining asteroids to commanding humanity's return to galactic prominence. The aliens gathering around their position would soon learn what humans were truly capable of when their backs were against the wall. The age of human isolation was ending, and Elena Torres was about to announce it to the stars.